STAR Model, Situation, Task, Action, Result by Janz and behavioral interview researchers. Have you ever been asked a question that should feel simple, and yet in that very moment, your mind freezes? Tell me about a time you solved a difficult problem. Describe an occasion when you showed leadership. Give me an example of handling conflict. You know you have the experience. You know you have done the work. You know you have value. But when it is time to explain it, your answer becomes scattered. You jump from one detail to another. You speak too much or not enough. You forget the important part. And instead of sounding capable, you sound uncertain. This happens far more often than people realize, not because individuals lack skill, but because they lack structure. Because in professional life, it is not enough to have done the work. You must know how to present the work. This is exactly what behavioral interview researchers, including Janz, recognized. As competency-based interviews became more common, employers wanted one thing: real evidence of future potential based on past behavior, not vague claims. Not, "I think I would," but "this is what I actually did." And from this need came one of the most practical communication frameworks still used across workplaces today, the STAR model. A clear 4-step behavioral performance framework that helps people transform messy memories into convincing proof of competence. STAR stands for Situation, Task, Action, Result, and once mastered, it can completely change the way you communicate your professional value. The core idea of the STAR model. At the heart of the STAR model is one simple professional truth. Past behavior is often the best indicator of future performance. If you handled pressure before, you may handle it again. If you solved conflict before, you may solve it again. If you led effectively before, you are likely to lead effectively again. That is why employers, managers, and assessors increasingly ask behavioral questions. Questions designed not to hear theory, but to hear evidence. And STAR provides the roadmap for that evidence. Instead of rambling through memories, you answer with order, relevance, and impact. So what is the impact? The STAR model helps experience sound credible, not chaotic. S. Situation. The first step is situation. This means briefly describing the context. What was happening? Where were you? What challenge or event occurred? The purpose here is not to tell your life story. The purpose is to place the listener inside the scene. For example, our customer service department was receiving an unusually high number of complaints during the Christmas rush. Immediately, the listener understands the setting. There is pressure, there is urgency, there is a real environment. Situation gives the audience the background they need before they can appreciate your response. So what is the impact? Without a clear scene, your story has no professional foundation. T. Task. The second step is task. Now we explain, what was your responsibility? What needed to be achieved? What problem were you accountable for solving? Example: as the team supervisor, I was responsible for reducing complaint levels while keeping staff motivated during the busiest trading period. Now the challenge becomes personal. This was not just something happening in the company. This was your responsibility. Task matters because it shows ownership. It defines the pressure point that sat on your shoulders. So, what is the impact? The task shows what you were trusted to handle. A. Action. This is the most critical section of all. Action. What did you do? Not what the company did, not what the department did. What did you personally decide, initiate, communicate, organize, or change? Example: I reviewed the complaint trends, identified the busiest problem periods, reassigned staff to key service points, introduced a rapid response checklist, and held short motivational briefings before each shift. Now we see professional behavior. Now we see initiative planning, leadership, communication, problem solving, this section should carry the most detail because this is where competence becomes visible. This is where your listener starts to trust your capability. So, what is the impact? Action is where your value stops being claimed and starts being shown. R. Result. Finally comes result. What happened because of your actions? What measurable improvement followed? Did something get better? Did efficiency rise? Did complaints reduce? Did morale improve? Example. Within 6 weeks, customer complaints reduced by 35% and staff feedback scores showed improved confidence and teamwork. Now the story has proof, not just effort, evidence. Many people forget this step. They explain what they did, but never explain whether it worked, and without result, there is no full credibility. So, what is the impact? Result turns professional effort into professional evidence. Why the STAR model matters in today's workplace. Modern workplaces are highly competitive, interviews are competitive, promotions are competitive, performance reviews are competitive, leaders are constantly being assessed, formally and informally, and often two people may have similar levels of experience, but the one who communicates with structure appears more confident, more prepared, more competent, more leadership ready. Why? Because structured communication creates trust. Rambling communication creates doubt. This is why STAR is not just an interview trick. It is a credibility framework, a professional thinking framework, a way of proving capability under pressure. Real workplace example. Imagine an interviewer asks, "Tell me about a time you resolved conflict within your team." Without STAR, a person may panic. Well, there were 2 staff members and they had issues, and I tried talking to them and eventually it got sorted. Unclear, weak, forgettable. Now listen with STAR. Situation. 2 team members were having repeated disagreements during busy service shifts. Task. As shift manager, I needed to resolve the issue quickly to prevent service disruption and low morale. Action. I met with each employee individually, identified the root of the conflict, facilitated a calm, mediated discussion, and reassigned responsibilities more clearly. Result: team communication improved significantly, service delays reduced, and no further formal complaints occurred that quarter. Now the answer sounds composed, professional, leadership-based. This is the power of structure. Advantages and limitations of the STAR model. Advantages: easy to remember, builds interview confidence, prevents rambling, demonstrates evidence of competence, works across many workplace settings, helps professionals sound organized and credible. Limitations: can sound rehearsed if memorized too rigidly, requires preparation of strong examples. Some people spend too long on situation and not enough on action. Not every informal conversation fits the full structure. Still, when used naturally, it remains one of the strongest behavioral communication frameworks available. Where the STAR model is used today. You will commonly find the STAR model used in job interviews, promotion panels, performance appraisals, leadership assessments, coaching sessions, university admissions, competency reviews, anywhere a person needs to prove they can perform. STAR gives them a language of evidence. Key lesson. The STAR model teaches a powerful truth many professionals discover too late. Having experience is not the same as communicating experience well. You may have solved difficult problems, you may have led under pressure, you may have delivered excellent results, but if your words cannot carry that evidence clearly, opportunities can quietly pass to those whose words can, because in the professional world, clarity often sounds like confidence, and confidence often sounds like competence. So ask yourself, when opportunity asks for your story, does your answer sound like a memory, or does it sound like proof? Take a moment, pause and reflect. Grab a pen, pencil it down. Write down 3 strong professional examples from your own experience using situation, task, action, result. Because preparation builds confidence long before the interview begins, I hope this brought value to you, and I'm wishing you abundant success. Take a moment, pause for thought. What would you like to learn and explore next?